Welcome everybody for our February 26th Road and Bridge meeting, and first we'll amend the agenda.
To add signing agreements for possession for 2 parcels on First Street.
Yeah, technically. But I can.
I'll make the motion to amend the agenda to
To add 2 agreements for possession
add 2 agreements for possession on the First Street project, did you say?
for signature, yeah.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to take care of those first then?
That would be great. It'll just be 1 signature for Commissioner Walker. And then I'll let you go first.
Explain these.
So parcel 12 and 13 are Doug Russell. He has signed all the documentation to get it, but his lender is proving to be difficult.
That's the lender. Okay.
Yes, and one of the lenders. And so the right-of-way negotiator came up with this agreement for possession to allow us to possess the land as his lender tries to work through all the details. So this
Okay.
just gives us possession of the ground.
So you can go forward with the
Yeah.
project without waiting for the lender.
Yes.
Both okay with that? Yes, sir. Andy. I should just never say, you would think, because it's obvious to those who would think, and
Just say bless their hearts.
not so obvious to those who don't think. That you think the lending company would be interested in not having
She'll
property
have to
taken.
attest it, yeah. The next thing that's quick is signing the right-of-way document to get an easement on 25th East and 49th North.
It's for the signal, right?
It's for the signal project. So it's,
String signal.
Yeah,
Wire
a
signal,
span
whatever you
wire.
call it,
Span
span
wire
wire,
signal.
and string sounds.
temporary. And let's
Okay.
not go string.
All right.
And it did have the incorrect names, and I scratched out and put the correct names because we started on this back in October with him.
Actually did scratch out.
Yes, I did.
Sign that, so it's a road with your pen.
Which corner is that?
What's that?
Which corner is it?
25th.
25th East, it's the southwest corner. And we're just getting an easement there to be able to move power line or power pole to get in that signal. I'll have to work with the title company to get the payment to him and close that, but as soon as that's done, they're gonna be ready to go out to bid on that pretty soon. So
Thanks, Lance.
then David Romer has a few things.
Okay,
So
so the lease agreement for the Tyler pit, there's a picture of where the Tyler pit's at. Another 2-year term.
You probably never heard of the Tyler pit because we haven't excavated material out of there in quite a few years. And so the gentleman that lives basically adjacent to it would like to lease it and basically graze cattle in it.
So is the Tyler pit our property and we're
Yes.
leasing it to them?
Yes,
Have we leased it to them before?
Yes.
It's just a.
Yeah, this is just a renewal of the lease.
one of the conditions on the lease does say that they have to provide us access into it to kind of inspect it. Before now, it's been kind of fenced off in a way that's really difficult. We would have had to cut things to get into it, so.
This, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You make a motion. Second.
Motion that
We're good.
we accept the, lease agreement for the Tyler.
Second it. Second.
And the next one is the Church Farm pit lease. Picture where it's located. Same thing, just renewing an existing lease.
This parcel is also partly owned by the city of Idaho Falls. Bonneville County has some of it for quite a few years. Bonneville County Sheriff's Office used it for training grounds and did shooting practice
Oh,
out
yeah,
there.
that's a rifle range.
So did these
Sure.
used to be landfills? Or why are they?
Not landfills, they're gravel pits.
Oh, okay.
So, and so this is same thing, grazing release.
Yes.
Another renewal.
Motion.
It shouldn't be. It's
Should be a different
Doug
person.
Steele,
That's the same.
Doug Steele and Galen Williams.
Steele's had it before.
Oh,
That's what we used to
the
do.
continuation of the lease.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
I thought you meant the same person
It's
as the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That confused me.
Right across the street from Steele's place, so.
Make a motion that we grant the renewal of the lease agreement for Doug Steele for the church farm pit.
I'll second that.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the final plat for Hog Hollow Division One. Oh,
What an appealing name.
I think I'm in Tennessee.
south of Foothill, south of First Street. Almost a mile south of First Street.
It's gonna be a large lot subdivision.
And they're really, they're really close to Hog Hollow. That's what they choose to call it.
It's almost up to Rim Rock, it's just down below.
Do they have to have
Is
pigs
that,
on the lots?
No,
Used to be, what's their last name?
Walnuses? Or is it
It's
south
by
of
their
Walnuses?
house, it's, I can see his face.
it's at the end of the current Odyssey with dead ends.
Cannon's property. So that's
Yeah, I could wait to sell some property in Hog Hollow.
There's another subdivision that may be coming as Hog Hollow number 2.
Okay, Guys okay with this?
So,
It's in the floodplain, but that's all noted on there, we can all say stuff about.
It's hollow, if it was Hog Hill, it would be above the.
There'll probably be an amendment to it in the future because they're working on the floodplain still and the channels, which will change it a little bit, but they're just anxious to get going.
But Lance and Austin have signed off on this in every particular.
They've got, they're gonna have a lot of floodplain stuff.
Yeah.
But
Individual lot, there'll be a lot of stuff to deal with them on the floodplain, but the overall concept, yes.
Yeah.
So,
First Street. Not a hidden fourth on this one.
I don't think there's a hidden fourth on this one.
That's the development agreement. Go along with that. Two copies of that.
I think we got those in one motion. So it's not really
And just
development.
hopefully for your
It's just
education,
one.
It's just
the
one.
development
Two
agreement,
copies?
there's two copies. The development agreement goes through all the wherefores and what as far as the developer has to do certain things in order to develop real property, whether it's one lot or many lots or whatever, so.
And you guys go through that with them and before you get it to us.
Make a motion that we approve the development agreement for Mount Hollow.
Vision.
Second.
Aye.
Discussion on the amendment.
So, on the agenda is a possible amendment for development agreement with Spencer Baker. I don't know if he's here.
Yeah, they're right here.
Okay.
Trenton, you guys wanna come up? You can come sit down at this end and talk to us about this a little bit.
He's saying no.
Yeah, so I'm basically proposing an amendment to this development agreement for this road up on off of Henry Creek.
It's for the Sellers Overlook Division number 1.
Yeah. So that's big.
Email
So this is the land that we got a year ago, and we're working on plans and building up there, and just have come into a lot of issues in regards to trying to get this road bidded and done. One of the issues, I mean, the biggest issue I think is just that it's such a small extension of the road. It's about 20 yards. And so it's just, I guess, not enticing enough for contractors is what I'm assuming. But basically, this development agreement is limiting us from getting a building permit, and then obviously a certificate of occupancy until this road is completed. Yet, in us looking at it, everything, because the road technically does extend to the end of the lot. It's just not asphalted, and then the utilities aren't completely extended to the end of the lot. All the utilities are up there in order to be able to utilize it. So like water, power, everything like that is already there to be able to use the lot. Access to the lot is there. And then I took some pictures here, just showing that it is, I mean, you know, it hasn't been a ton of snow, but it does get managed in the winter. It does get plowed all the way to the end of the road here. And there is an existing turnaround that is already utilized, because I know that was an issue or a thought process behind finishing the road was to have, you know, a usable turnaround and all those kind of things. Right, for emergency vehicles, which there is one there, and that actually does extend completely to that end of the lot. And so for us, it just has unfortunately been a useless pieces of dirt because of this development agreement, and we've just been struggling on getting. And so our getting anything that happened with this road. So our thought was maybe we can amend this agreement to basically allow for a builder's permit and certificate of occupancy but that when this land, all that land west of that road ends up getting developed, that then, you know, this small portion of the road is completed then, and then you know, the owners of the lot would then be responsible for that portion of that development, and to just do it then instead of having to do this very small project now. Any questions?
So when the developer, and it was not
No,
Mr. Baker, it was the original developer went in, all of this was explained to him. He did sign the development agreement because he had planned on building on the lot himself. And was told that he needs to extend the road, the paved surface to the end of the property line, which is how we treat pretty much every subdivision that we have. At that time, he fully understood, he signed the development agreement. There was improvement drawings that were done to show both the asphalt and the water line extension going past the end of it. That allows that in the future, when the land to the west, if it does develop, they won't come back and say, well, we can't connect because we don't own that ground. And it just sets us up for continuation of that without a little 100-foot section that is left with who knows who pays for it later on down the road. The land to the west, we had a preliminary plat a while ago, but there has been no movement on that for a few years now.
Water rights
Yeah.
is the big issue with that.
And so when and if it develops is a question that we don't know when that's gonna be. And putting the burden off until a unknown time is a hard burden for me to pass on to the county potentially.
Well, my proposal would be to, you know, we can maintain the responsibility on the owners of that lot. It's just to them then would take that responsibility for when it gets developed and it's a big project, instead of this small thing that no one is like, you know, wanting to move all this heavy duty equipment up there to, you know, extend.
30 feet.
Yeah.
So one of the options that has been available
That
to
way it can be-
developers in the past is to bond for these improvements. And it is a different check mark on here that they say that they're gonna bond, but they put up a cash bond for 150% of the engineer's estimate of those improvements. And that goes into a bank account in our name for the future use of that.
And if we're stuck and it doesn't get done, we can.
Yeah.
It's there to do it, and if there's
But
any money
so
left
you
over,
go-
it goes back to the developer.
But it is a bond that's placed in Ottawa County's name for 150% of whatever the value of those improvements are, based on an engineer's estimate.
Awesome.
I mean, I see the challenge both ways, right? I see the importance of getting the road extended, and I've talked to Trenton quite a bit, and it sounds like they just have a hard time really getting any contractor interested
Yeah, I
in doing the job, because it's a 60-foot section of roadway to have to bring all the equipment up and do the improvements. That I can see how that probably isn't a very enticing job to many of the major road contractors to come do either, so.
I can, you know, we've talked to 3H, HK, Lot Contractors, AWN, KMC, Sunrock, Knife River. I mean, it's like,
And do they all just tell you it's too small? Is that?
well, so they most of these, the point of contact was our general contractor, and so I'm not 100% sure the message that they delivered to him, but we just weren't able to get anyone to solidify, like, hey, you know, basically willingness to commit, you know. Just basically doing bigger.
How do we make it work?
Sounds like you
unfortunately,
need to
we,
develop that other plot on the other side.
development's not my cup of tea.
And that's where it's been tricky, because technically they have enough road frontage to get a building permit under what the planning and zoning standards require, but because Greg Sellers agreed to at the time in the agreement to do this little triangular portion here, it was a condition that we were gonna hold that to not issue a permit until that had been completed and as the development agreement.
I mean, technically, yeah, everything is there to be able to
But we
utilize
can't
the
go back and
land.
hold him responsible.
Yeah, the one challenge I think is with doing a development agreement that says, okay, the landowner will participate at such time, is just who is that and how do you track the money
Right.
down and how many times has it changed hands till that actually happens in 15 years, so. I mean, if there's some way we could figure out, okay, this is the cost and put it in some sort of escrow account, so it's there to
That's-
do
that's
the
what-
work, I
That's
think
what the
that.
bond is for,
yeah.
right?
That's what the bond is for.
That would probably work, and then just say that that portion of the road will be constructed when the rest of the development happens, right? And we just hold that money until then.
And Next, determine how much money that is.
Just an engineer would have to come give an estimate as to what the cost of that 60-foot section will be to construct.
So Ellsworth and Associates are the ones that originally did the design for it. And then I guess I would start with them.
Yeah, they could probably give you an estimate.
Done as a design, it shouldn't be much to.
And
So,
that's in the original development agreement, the
That is an
bond.
option
Yeah.
in the, but, so in the development agreement, there's two different options. One,
One is to finish
One
it.
is
one is
construct
to
and
bond it.
install it at her own expense. The other was to construct and install it with a bond. So there's,
And we've
it would
done
still
that.
have to be amended based on bonding now instead of.
Based on
actually
what they
paying
check.
Cause right now it's checked to,
Okay, so bond is not one of the options checked.
for it. No,
No,
bonding
I see.
is not checked. They check the thing that they will install
Right.
at their cost.
So it sounds like what Mr. Baker needs to do is figure out how much it's going to be and if that's how, if you want to amend it that way. I think it's hard for us to just say, don't worry, you can abandon the agreement to not finish it. Because like Austin said, my concern is, you sell it to someone else, then they sell it to someone else, and pretty soon everybody's forgotten that they have to finish that. And Austin,
never get the money
Austin
out.
and Lance have been replaced, and then there's this road that's never finished because nobody can figure out.
And I think the rules kind of changed to protect against that by requiring them to make the improvements before they sell the lots.
right,
Well,
and that's
or
one
bond.
issue, that's one issue with this is that,
They sold lots without
is that
making the
this had
improvements.
this had a 2-year,
Yeah, the bond issued 2
Wait,
years.
2-year requirement to finish. Greg had,
Yeah.
And
Which he never
it
did.
expired and he never did it.
And then
And
you bought
then
it after that.
he, played it out like it was no big thing and took advantage of.
There was no end to dishonest realtors can be. I'm shocked.
Well, I think the best thing would be at this point, if you can go talk with Ellsworth, get an engineer's estimate to what that will cost. And then we can work through doing the bonding for that, basically setting the money aside. And then we could work that out to get a building permit and CO with just holding that money to it being released when the road is constructed.
Maybe if it's not, we can do it ourselves, and that's how it's.
So and I'm responsible for putting forth that money for the
If
bond.
you decide that you still want to build there, then you would be responsible for posting the bond money for the roadway. If you sold the property, then whoever decides when they want to build would be responsible for posting that bond money.
So it's
Which-
trying to be the equivalent of you building it yourself.
So
You can't
basically,
get a contractor, so this sidesteps the need to have it done before you get a CO.
so basically a builder's permit can be issued as well as a certificate of occupancy.
As long
As
as
long
we
as
have
it's
that
approved.
money. to do the work.
It doesn't
Well,
actually have-
the money at 150% of the engineer's estimate. So if,
The bond.
if Ellsworth comes back and says, that's gonna cost you $100,000, we have to have a bond for 150% of that.
And the reason we do that is just generally the time that can go on between when it was initially posted, and when it actually gets constructed, the fluctuation in costs and cost of the county and inflation time to go do it, yeah, so.
And if it costs, because there's a change in the market, 75% of the bond value to actually do the work, because nobody else will do it, so Lance goes up and does it, then the remainder of that goes back to you. It's not
I
a
don't
money
know
maker.
how-
Hmm?
We've never had that experience. so-
No, but that would be what would happen.
If it does cost
If it
less,
did.
but very seldomly does it actually end up.
Or
costing
you get the
less.
other development in and they pay for a portion of it regardless. Once the work's done, if the work's done, then the bond goes back to you.
Is there any way to?
Make that happen right now.
Greg Sellers partially responsible.
You'll have to talk to an attorney about that.
That's a civil issue, unfortunately.
But I feel like that's a good workaround for us, that if you're not able to get the road built, we can still get you moving forward if you want to do that, so.
I'm not kidding. We had a realtor sell property up in Swan Valley, guaranteeing the guy that he had water rights and there was already a building there, so he could just do a remodel. And had pictures included in the sales stuff of the foundation on the property. It's a cement water tank that's been there since the 30s. But the angle of the picture made it look like it was a foundation wall. And no, you can't get a building permit for it. That's just like no liability, no responsibility. I just,
Do you have any other questions for us?
No.
Good luck.
So if that's the route you decide you want to go, if you go talk to Ellsworth, you get your estimate or whoever, and you say, hey, we want to do this, then we can help you draw up the amendment and get it brought to these guys to sign and be
It'll
recorded.
just be a new development.
New development agreement, yeah.
that building
That
agreement.
basically just has the other box checked.
Right,
Yeah,
The other box checked and
And
the
then
bond is there and everything.
put the stipulations in about the money being used and being able to get a building permit, CO, all that stuff, so.
So the requirement will be, so still before you, building permit or anything like that is issued. the bond will-
Would have to be posted, yeah.
Hang those folks out on the barn wall and throw rocks at them. Things like that.
stars are amazing.
But I
Have some of my
certainly
family.
don't look forward with distrust. with it. So, blacklisted so they can't do business in Denver County, at the very least.
Well, I think the bakers are aware of a little bit more than they need on to. It's somewhere in the middle and we just try to work with them.
That's why we've got a forward trial going on
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next is a public hearing for the proposed abandonment vacation of a portion of the public utility easement. It's dedicated as part of the Royal Vacation Home subdivision pursuant to Idaho Code 50-1306A. This petition was submitted by Royal Vacation Homes Water Association, January 15th, 2025, and public hearing scheduled for today, February 26th, 10 o'clock.
And you're sure this is in Bonneville County and not the Bahamas?
It's in Swan Valley.
Yeah,
Royal Vacation Home, makes me think I'm in the Caribbean somewhere.
not quite.
All right, all right.
So page 2 through 4 is their petition. And, page 2, the reason they're wanting this vacated is they need to construct new water system facilities over this easement. Page 3,
And I'll just mention there that the reason for that is the terrain anywhere else on that property makes it really challenging to put those water facilities anywhere else other than where that easement is currently located, so.
Page 3 is the boundary description for the area they're requesting vacation. Page 4, there's a highlighted portion there that shows this area. Page 5 and 6 are copies of the original plat. It's pretty small, but it shows you the site there highlighted in yellow. Page 6 is below it of that same plat, showing that there are 10-foot easements along all sides of all lots. They are only requesting vacation on their side of the lot, lot 10. 2. Page 7 and 8 are some aerial maps. Page 8's kind of a zoomed in map showing you the location. Page 9 is a copy of the notice of public hearing. Page 10 is a map showing the properties within 300 feet that were notified as required by law. Page 11 through 14 is the letter and attachments that were sent to the utility owners and the adjoining property owners. Page 15 is a facilities request that I did through Digline, identifying non-utility operators in the area. They were Lower Valley Energy and Silver Star Communications. They were also sent a letter.
Silver Star has wires.
Well, they service that area. I don't think there's any utilities up in there, but page 16 and 17 are the advertising notice showing that this was advertised February 7th and February 14th. I have not received any correspondence for or against this. So I have any questions for me.
Who's asking for it and why?
They have some water system improvements up there that they need to do, and Boston said the only place to do anything is within that utility easement.
Yeah,
Flat
it's
area
the,
there.
it's the water portion of the HOA, the people who own the water board up there, one of their buildings is currently on another piece of property that's actually not owned by them. They need to do some improvements to the systems. They're just trying to move it all onto their property and into a concise location. And the terrain's just such that they can't put it anywhere other than right where that easement is.
And what's the problem for Bonneville County if we grant it?
Where there's no existing easements in any of those, and there's a 10-foot easement on the other side, I don't really see a big issue.
I don't see an issue with vacation. Page 4 shows the buildings that are up there currently. So, cheap one way or another.
Any public input on this?
We want to open the public hearing.
That's kind of what I just did. I just didn't use those words. Open the public hearing. both in-house before looking online?
I
Anybody?
guess I'm the president of
Just
the,
come up here and give us
Come
your
up, state your name and
name and
address,
address.
my
please.
name is Brett Howell. I'm from Pocatello, Idaho, but I'm property owners. I'm the president of the association. And that's basically what, that's basically what we're doing is our water system is old. It's getting towards the end of its useful life. And we have a very small piece of property. And in order to get things for DEQ and the treatment shack and our tanks and things, we need the room just to be able to build on, put tanks on part of that piece of it, just so that things will fit.
And you're the HOA president,
Yes,
lucky enough to get this issue.
yes.
And I've been working with them
Yeah,
on
I-
this for probably more than a year, and we've looked at all kinds of possible solutions, and this is just where we ended up, so.
We brought the engineer with us. We have hired an engineering firm, and that's, part of the reason why, like Austin mentioned, the terrain and things just, because it's on the side of a hill. And our system, it's kind of unique because it's a gravity fed system. It's not pumps and maintained with pressurized. So it has to be up kind of high, and that just happens to be the spot where it is, where it needs to be and stuff. So
No issues with plowing, you guys do your own plowing probably, or is the county do the plow?
No. that's
No,
not
there's
private
no-
maintained.
the access is actually through Forest Service. Because our lease, we get our water from the spring that's up the canyon there further.
Didn't know that. Any questions for the HOA? Anybody online have questions? You unmute your mic. Turn your camera on. Well, yeah, because that's important. That's. All right, any questions from you? Close the public portion of this and advisement. Back to the decision in the next week or two. After one of you two will send us all the
Yeah. Okay. Good job.
normal. So
Figure it out.
after public, we don't talk about it, but one of those two will come and talk to each of us individually, answer our questions and over anything in the hearing that we have questions about that come up afterwards, and then come with findings and bring those to us, and then we'll publish those in a public meeting, a public hearing. That's usually a week or two out.
Okay.
Before the snow melts, I promise. And I know,
Much
because
appreciated.
how many round time, year-round folks do you have up there?
3 or 4.
I was guessing 3, but there's a couple you can't really see. But
There's quite a
Is
few you
there?
can't see from the road.
There's 5 full-time.
5 full-time that don't go to New Mexico for the winter.
Correct.
So they're winter birds.
45 to 50 miles. So
Yeah.
47.
I live next to Lakeview, which used to have none. It's 4 year-rounders.
We've already raised the money for the tanks to be, so it's just a matter of trying to
Put them in.
get everything to make all the stars align to.
Yeah. Well, Lakeview started to try and work its system so that it can provide the ones that want it year-round, but theirs was truly done for a summer home division, and the lines were all 12 inches under the ground, so.
Yep. We have those problems as well.
I'm on road and ours was done, our lines are all 8 feet down, so. Ours works.
Thanks for your work on this. I
Yeah,
was telling
thanks,
people
and
They
I'm-
don't understand how many volunteer hours are put into.
No, and they don't
Make things
understand the
work.
challenges of higher mountain country,
Yeah.
grades and things like
Thanks for
Austin does.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Anything else, gentlemen?
Anything else?
Just an update, there has been some water running in different areas. We do have water over the road signs out.
Ice was our problem this morning,
Yes.
not water.
Thank you.
Water turns into ice turns back into water.
What area?
We haven't had a whole lot of flooding concerns. Up Ryrie area, we always have problems on Old Ryrie Highway. We always have problems on Meadow Creek Road.
For short rains and short warms and short colds.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's areas that we haven't seen any roads completely washed out, like we have in other years. And so we are keeping an eye on it, we are monitoring it. We will have to do some repair, which we do every year. So if people happen to call you and complain that we're not doing anything, it's
We'll get
waiting
to it.
for, we'll get to it. There's some of that Mother Nature causes that it does it every year and there's no good way of preventing all of it. And so we come in and do some repairs afterwards, pretty much every year.
About 15th east on the country club. Is that-
Haven't
Water all the way
heard of-
across the mountain.
Yeah, we haven't heard of any down there.
65th and 45th had some,
Yeah.
always does.
Over by the power station,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Well, based on the state of my backyard, I can't believe there hasn't been anything.
There
like
hasn't
a
been
lake
near
back
as
there.
much. Yeah, there's
It's melted
our-
super
other
fast.
years.
Well, in our yard hasn't typically looked like that, so.
other years we've had Lake Bonneville
Yeah.
almost out on the west end of Broadway. This year, our road foreman is out there and it hasn't gone over the road yet. In other years, we've had it 5 feet above the road. So,
Yeah. There was 6 miles of absolute ice on Highway 26 up on the high part of the flats. Cross wind about 50 miles an hour and ground blizzard
that
at the
was fun to
2-foot
drive
mark
through.
coming down this morning.
Should've stayed home.
Everything else was beautiful, but oh crap. Kind of when the wind hits you and you just start doing this because there's not enough traction no matter what. Yeah, I needed a sander up there. I know they're down 10 plows. We should feel sorry for them, right?
I do feel bad for them because we're down plows too and sanders too. Yeah, they have a lot of.
Have you run into yours? The news story was that they lost 10 plows to vehicle accidents, people hitting their plows.
No, we haven't lost any. to
Oh, so it's a
people
maintenance issue.
sometimes.
But you guys, your crews do an amazing job. In fact, I had somebody stop me and say, your
All this
plow
melted.
plowed out the
I didn't
pull
even see
out
any
for-
complaints on my Facebook.
for Sheep
page.
Creek. And I said, yeah, that meant it's all done. Cause that's a